What's going on, everyone? Half of the stocks in the S&P 500 closed up in the green today, while the other half closed down in the red. It was exactly 50-50, and there was a lot that happened in the market today as Tesla set the tone for this quarter's earnings season. It moved up by over $200 billion today and had its best day in 11 years. So, of course, we're definitely going to hit on this because some traders made some life-changing money off of this move today, but we also have some pretty exciting news related to the elections and how one whale trader is moving the entire election market. And then on top of that, we have some pretty exciting setups and analysis to end this week on a green note. Either way, we have a lot to cover today, and there's a lot that's happening in the market right now. So, Tom, let's get right to it.
Yeah, the SPY opened up today, and I thought the floodgates were going to open up like they did yesterday, and I thought we were going to see a big flush lower, but we ended up only seeing a small flush today, and the SPY ended up consolidating back at that key 580 resistance throughout the day and really failed to break back out above there. But Mike, everybody is really just worried about one thing today, and if you go to the heat map, there's one thing that really stands out. It's Tesla, of course, right? Like you said, the best day in 11 years. That is a huge statement for a stock like Tesla, which, you know, we're talking about the 2020 run up and everything that Tesla's done over the past few years. You know, it's crazy to say this was the best day in 11 years for them, but nonetheless, they have been down quite a bit recently. So I guess them recovering up is a good thing to see. But one of the big statements that really happened from the conference call is Elon Musk ended up saying that, now this is kind of funny in the way he said it because, you know, it's not a for sure thing, right? He says his best guess is that vehicle growth will reach 20 to 30% next year, and analysts were only expecting 15%. So that's a really good thing as far as Tesla, because that'll help their revenue, of course, if the vehicle growth starts to come in at least at that pace.
Exactly. When you look at Tesla stock, it was just insane today, and the options on Tesla just exploded. And I couldn't even believe some of the posts I saw on Wall Street Bets today. Some people were wagering pretty hard on this earnings release. This one guy here turned 10 grand into $141,000 overnight with Tesla. So that was pretty crazy. But as you scroll through the Reddit here, it's just so many crazy posts all across the board. Some good, and as in traditional Wall Street Bets fashion, some really bad. But either way, this movement is crazy. And as we look at Tesla stock for tomorrow, Tom, what are the key levels to watch with this one? And, you know, what should we look at heading into the market tomorrow? This stock is crazy.
Yeah, so Tesla actually started to come back up in a great way. If we go to the daily chart here, you can see Tesla's actually been having a major resistance overhead right around 264 to 265. And today it got pretty close to there, but rejected back down. For tomorrow, that 264 to 265 mark has to be on watch. And Mike, we can even go over here to the Bookmap and go to Tesla, and you can see that overhead, that 264 to 265 mark is going to be crucial. Even 260 today was pretty large. You can see how that was a big spot on the Bookmap before it finally broke, but the next sell wall overhead at that 265 mark is crazy, with 289 or so thousand shares that were stacked up there around the end of the day today. So that's going to be a big spot to watch overhead. Again, 260, we broke it today. That should act as good support for tomorrow, but there were so many levels that Tesla broke above on this run up, Mike. You guys might just want to screenshot it because there's so many major supports and resistances that it went through today.
Yeah, and as we look at the stock, it has more momentum than anything else out there right now, and there are some heavy resistance levels overhead. So with that being said, what we don't want to see happen is for everyone to, you know, join the bull train with this one, only for the stock to reverse and for people to be left holding the bag. So with that being said, you don't really want to fight the momentum too early because you can get ran over by doing that. So the smartest thing, generally speaking, is to flow with the trend, but be quick to adjust when the trend changes. For example, if you are scalping this intraday, then, you know, by all means, continue to ride this imbalance of supply and demand and, enjoy this strong trend, but you cannot bag hold, because if you do that, it will not be good. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of opportunity when, stocks like Tesla move in a crazy way for multiple different reasons. And what's pretty interesting is that Tesla actually had a very strong run back in the beginning of July this year, where we saw multiple green days back to back to back. Of course, we're still early into this trend, so it's hard to say for sure if that will happen, but the more pressure it constantly puts on its high of day and the more it actively moves up, the stronger this uptrend becomes. So keep that in mind, and I'm excited to watch this one tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a crazy uptrend from back there in the beginning of July. Today's move, it accounted for 3 or 4 of those candles, Mike. That was insane today, 21%. I just can't believe how good of a day it actually was. Just to even see the headline that it was the best day in 11 years just blows my mind. Whenever we go back and just look at the Tesla run up from before, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to say that some of these moves weren't better than this one, but I guess earnings can do that, right? And that's kind of the fun with earnings. And the really fun part about the Tesla earnings today, Mike, is that you didn't even have to play it before it happened. After the market opened today, you could have played it safe, waited for the earnings continuation play, just like we talked about yesterday, and then it caught that ride right back to the upside there. You don't have to enter before the earnings necessarily come out. You can still ride the wave after most of the time.
Absolutely. So with that being said, what are the earnings stocks for tomorrow? I know it's not going to be anywhere near as exciting as over the past couple days.
Definitely not. NYCB, Colgate. Honestly, my favorite tomorrow morning is Colgate, ticker symbol CL. Piper Sandler, Wisdom Tree, Saya, which is a trucking company, but that's pretty much it, Mike. There's a couple others if you guys want to screenshot it and check those out. I really just can't wait for the earnings next week. Honestly, Mike, that's going to be the way to go. But as far as earnings, there's not much on the calendar, but as far as the economic data, there is durable goods orders tomorrow, as well as Michigan consumer sentiment in the morning. So keep that in mind. Those could end up moving the market a little bit, but not too pressing.
Yeah, so the good thing here is that there aren't any crazy earnings or economic events tomorrow, so that'll make most of the attention and focus on stocks like Tesla and just other stocks that are leading the way in both directions, which is a great way to end the week. So another thing that's worth keeping in mind is that as the election it gets closer and closer, it's worth covering what's happening in some of these prediction markets. So I'm not sure how many of you have seen this already, but a whale French trader is betting over $28 million on the Trump election and on Polymarket. So for those of you who don't know, Polymarket is it's an interesting thing where you can basically place bets via crypto onto real world events. We can see that the presidential election winner for 2024 has over $2.2 billion wagered on it. And over the past couple of weeks, the odds of Trump winning have been steadily increasing because of this whale French trader who keeps buying up this position. So we thought this was very interesting, not only because the election is happening pretty soon, but also, of course, DJT stock will move as hype builds in this sort of sense.
Yeah, and DJT did consolidate a lot today. It was down 2.67%. I will say the options are pretty wild on DJT. I almost like it better for just playing the shares, Mike, because the options are pretty wild. The implied volatilities are usually over 200% on the weeklies, and I'm sure if they're not 200%, they're pretty dang close. But Mike, whenever we talk about Polymarket and some of these betting apps, it's kind of interesting. Polymarket's actually banned in the U.S., which I thought was interesting. Kalshi is actually available in the United States, and the percentages are a little bit off, probably because of some of these whale traders using Polymarket, right? The Trump odds are at 62.9% on Polymarket, and on Kalshi, we're looking at them right around 60%. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but just looking at a couple different sites, the percentages do change just a little bit there, but I find these websites to be extremely interesting, Mike, and it's not even just about the presidential election either. You can see a whole bunch of stuff on here like Super Bowls, and look at this. You can even bet on what the Federal Reserve is going to do with their interest rates.
It's very exciting to see sites like this develop because for multiple reasons. Not only do you get insights into like real world events, whether it be political events or anything else, but it also helps you like gauge about like what like the general public is pricing in for any event to happen. So I'm pretty excited for sites like this to continue to develop. And I also think it's pretty interesting how big brokers like Interactive Brokers is also offering markets like this one. So definitely check out Polymarket and Kalshi and all these other ones to get better information about what the world is pricing in to things in general. But with that being said, Tom, what are we looking like for SPY for tomorrow in terms of important levels and charting analysis?
Yeah, SPY really didn't do too much today. It gapped up in the morning, and we ended up consolidating around that 580 resistance that I was talking about. And for tomorrow, the big thing is going to be, can Tesla keep the SPY alive, right? If we go to the heat map of the SPY from today, it was very mixed. Like Mike said, 50-50 right down the board. Some of the bigger tech stocks were even having trouble getting going. So with the SPY, I want to see a good 580 break, and then that 581 pre-market break as well. After that, I'll be watching the 582 50 resistance along with 583 above there. As far as support, you have to watch 575, which is right around the low from yesterday. If we end up breaking that, I'll be watching 573 and then 570 if the SPY does fall that much. But the big thing for tomorrow is, are we going to really get a good recovery going, or are we going to keep turning over and selling off like we have been all week?
I think it says a lot how the heat map was 50-50 today, because you had some stocks like Tesla carrying the market, but you had a lot of other stocks that were relatively weak. So what we could also see is a pinned market for SPY, and we could have some stocks like Tesla do their thing while other stocks kind of like counteract those flows. So I think the smartest move is to focus on what's truly moving in the strongest way, whether it's Tesla to the upside or maybe Apple to the downside or any other stock in, whichever way. Focus on the strength, ride the trend, and position yourself so if the trend reverses, you could have the stop loss at a relatively small point compared to where the profit target is at. So I think that'll be the key going into tomorrow, but let's jump right into some setups and predictions. A stock I'm still watching very closely is UVXY, and it is to the upside. This moves up when the market is falling and there's panic and fear, because we did see a fair amount of selling pressure yesterday. And there was even like a decent amount of profit taking today. UVXY is definitely on my radar, where if we continue to see more profit taking happen in the market, whether that be just due to profit taking overall or maybe some fear based off the election or anything else out there, this can offer like a unique like hedge where when everything else is tanking, this can move up in a strong way. So either way, UVXY is on my upside radar, but I want to see the SPY putting strong pressure on its low of day in order to justify a setup like this.
Yeah, and whenever SPY was putting a good pressure on its low of day today, it ended up dropping down, on the SPY chart, and really not relatively that much. UVXY actually ran up pretty much 7% from open today. I thought that was a pretty dang good move by UVXY, considering SPY barely fell compared to yesterday. But yeah, I'll definitely be watching UVXY also, Mike. And with my next stock, I'm looking at Coinbase, and Coinbase is at a pretty big resistance here. I'm going to be watching this one actually in both directions. If we end up seeing a good 210 break, I will watch this one up and I'll go with those good bullish flows as the bulls hopefully come back in here. If we end up seeing a rejection, I will look at Coinbase back down. The put options can be pretty lucrative as well as the calls whenever the moves do happen in an exponential way. I know I looked at Tesla earlier on the Bookmap, but Coinbase has a lot of sellers stacked up at that 210 level as well. Towards the end of day today, now Coinbase isn't as volatile as Tesla, but around the end of day, there was around 29,000 shares to 30,000 shares around that 210 mark, and we even rejected a 210 earlier in the morning. So that's why that's such a crucial level.
Beautiful. All right, awesome. Another stock that's on the radar is PENN, P-E-N-N, to the upside. This stock has been consolidating for some time now, and it's starting to show a little bit more bullish momentum coming into play here. The stock was up 3% on the day, just in normal trading hours, and it moved up higher in after hours, or at least is showing some strength. And as we look at this stock, it tends to not have as much hype and attention with it as other stocks, but it can have some pretty pretty solid moves over the course of multiple days. And when it does pick up momentum, its options do move quite a bit. So it's definitely on my bullish radar.
Yeah, this one's awesome, Mike. The recent big money play is starting to look really good here in after hours. I can't wait for the market to open up tomorrow. That'll be looking fire, and that expires in April of 2025 with those 20 strike calls, and they're almost in the money now. We're not too far off, so I'll definitely keep my eyes on Penn. And something else to keep your eyes on for tomorrow is McDonald's still. I'm really watching McDonald's here in the short term, Mike, for another move lower here. I think for the next couple days, McDonald's might keep consolidating and moving up ever so slightly, but I'm really waiting for the sellers to start to mount and really push this one back towards that recent low. I'm going to watch in the short term for tomorrow another break back below the $300 mark, and even for the next few days. Once we get back below there, I'll start to watch it down, and this isn't necessarily a play for tomorrow. Like I said, it might take a few more days, but after it's done consolidating within this range, that's when I think the sellers will start to rush back in.
All right, sounds good. I will also keep this one close on watch. But let's get right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have BLNK to the upside.
Yeah, Blink did very well today, up 9%. If they end up breaking out above $2.17 tomorrow, keep watching them up.
All right, with the next one, we have BYND also to the upside.
Uh-oh, the fake meat. If we end up seeing a 650 break, watch beyond higher.
All right, and then with the last one, we have SOFI in both directions.
Yeah, SoFi had a great day this morning, consolidated a lot. If they're able to re-break $11, watch them back to the upside tomorrow. If they do end up pulling back under $10.70, I will eye them up back down.
All right, so we have the downside level for a potential move lower. We have the upside level for a potential move higher with SoFi. Don't forget about Beyond Meat and Blink with the upside potential as well. But these three stocks are on watch for potential momentum plays tomorrow, if and only if they break through the levels that were listed. If they don't break the levels listed, don't force the setups. We're looking for strength, consistency, and true momentum here. The more of that there is, the better the setups become. The less of that there is, you might not even want to get in the setup. Again, we are looking for momentum here, so keep that in mind. And let's get right into today's $734,000 big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol HAS. Today, the big money bought the 65 strike put options on this one that expire pretty soon on November 15th of 2024. This is a $734,000 trade where they want the stock to fall. These options are pretty close to the money. They don't have too much time to them, so the big money is expecting a move pretty soon here. This stock fell pretty badly on earnings, and it's looking relatively weak, not only in like a short-term sense, but also when you zoom out on like a longer-term chart. You can see that this stock has been consistently falling and making lower highs since mid-2019. So lots of weakness with this one. I like the earnings continuation aspect to it. I don't love how little time there is to it, but, some people might like that because it will be a shorter term trade. But either way, let's keep this one close on the radar.
Yeah, it's really not too far off the resistance overall. That resistance overhead that it keeps rejecting at around $74 is huge, and we've seen a lot of good big money plays reacting off these supports and resistances lately. I will say that candle from today was pretty exponential, but as we can tell, whenever HAS downtrends, it downtrends for real, as you can tell on some of these moves. These are some pretty bad drops that this stock has had before, so I'll definitely keep watching it down, Mike. It's definitely good with the earnings catalyst as well, kind of kicking things off. There is a support in the short term I see right around $66, so that is something to watch for maybe for tomorrow. If we start to see a clear break lower, maybe that could be where your entry is if you didn't already enter. But I like this setup overall, Mike. The big thing with it is just, it doesn't have a ton of time to it, so I think it's going to be a little bit more risky than usual.
No doubt. So either way, we will keep this one close on the radar. But before we move any further into today's video, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Manny, in the Stocked Up trading floor, who had a day with Tesla. So a nice, nearly $28,000 day right here. And I'm sure it was even more than that as Tesla stock continued running throughout the day. He said, thank you, Tom and Mike. And Manny, you're a great active member of the community. Huge shout out to you and keep on rolling. Tom, how about a day like this? Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome, Manny. Almost 28 grand, and you do so much in the Discord and stuff, so let's go. That's a fantastic day for you, and I know that you've been averaging into Tesla for a long time, keeping it slow and steady and consistent, Manny, so great job. I'm glad to see you reaping in some gains here on this one.
Big time. And if you guys are into short-term trading, there's no better place than the Stocked Up trading floor. Essentially, you get full access to our army of trading bots, our weekly live events, the big money trades on the same day the trades are taken, plus access to all of our other bots, resources, education, technology, and everything you could need for short-term trading. Seriously, if we described everything in the trading floor, this video would be a couple hours long. We are doing a Halloween sale, so if you want in, you have the opportunity to get in at the lowest price possible using code PUMPKINPROFIT. This will save $100 off the yearly plan, and again, this is the lowest price possible. So if you've been wanting to get into the trading floor, we have a lot of great resources, technology, and all of our future additions and upgrades are no cost to members. So definitely check it out. This will expire, around Halloween. So keep that in mind. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching. The market is heating up quite a bit, whether it's Tesla stock doing its thing or anything else that's happening in the market right now. There is a lot of volatility, action, and opportunity. So it's a great time to be a trader. Let's remember to focus on smart, long-term, sustainable trading habits. Let's follow the money, position ourselves in a smart way, have stop losses and respect them, and trade in just a smart way in general. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget about code PUMPKINPROFIT for the trading floor. And besides that, let's end the week on a great note.